Howdy folks, I'm Principal Seymour Skinner. And there's an Amber, she's waving at you, but you can't see that. And here are some steamed hams. Our first letter is titled, Am I the jerk for sneaking out of the restaurant after my fiance told me to pay for his and his friend's meal? I'm a 33-year-old female and I have been engaged to my fiance, a 37-year-old male, for 5 months. We don't share finances because that's what he wants. I got a raise on my salary. Now I earn 30% more than he does, and I noticed that he's been using this to ask me to pay for him and his friends. Whenever I say no, or why should I pay for this, his response is, the 30% is why. He acts as if the 30% is unfair or that I am not deserving of it. Several times he has tricked me into paying for his and his friends' meals by asking me publicly. Let me say that I'm too nice to say no, and I hate confrontation, especially when we're at a public place like a restaurant, so I just grin and pay. Well, last Tuesday, he asked me to join him and his buddies for dinner. I told him from the start that I wasn't going to pay for their food, and he shouldn't expect me to. He said that he got this, and no worries. I sense some foreshadowing here. Well, we got to the restaurant, met his friends, and ordered the food. And in the middle of the meal, he leaned in and whispered that I would be paying for everything that he and his friends ordered. So I got mad and I whispered back no. But he probably relied on me not causing a scene in public and in front of his friends, and he said, "You have enough money, you could pay for everyone's food. 30%, remember? I guess 30% means that you're made of money." I was fuming inside. Instead of reacting negatively and losing my temper, I waited until the bills arrived. They were already split from the start when I first ordered, and I paid for mine, and then I excused myself to the restroom. I then sneaked out from there, got into my car, and I went home. I started getting phone calls from my fiance and then texts asking where I was. I texted back that I didn't appreciate how he put me into this situation, basically tricking me into paying for him and his friends' food. I told him that I went home and then I stopped replying. An hour later, he came in and started yelling at me for being selfish, irrational cheapskate, and childish for sneaking out like that and leaving him stuck with a bill that he could not pay. He had to call his brother for help. We had a loud argument and then he walked out. His friends didn't speak to me on this, but he told me that they're disappointed in my behavior and are telling him to take time to reflect on the type of woman that he's about to marry. Am I the jerk for what I did? Is what he's expecting of me unfair or justified? Edit to add some info. He said that because the restaurant wasn't that expensive, I could have just paid. 2. He admitted to not telling me about it till later, knowing that I would refuse. He still thinks that my reaction was childish and unacceptable. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Run.
Run. See, Amber, even with her minimal voice, knew that she had to take a second to tell OP to run, because that's exactly what OP needs to do. They need to run far, far away and as fast as they can. OP, this is financial abuse. He is using your inability to say no in public against you, and he's weaponized this. OP, this is not what a good partnership does. If he's going to trap you and trick you on small things like this, there's a good chance that he might do this for larger things, right? And you do not want to be in a relationship with someone who is willing to stoop to the level of trapping you into something that you don't want to do or that you are uncomfortable with doing. It's not right. It's not ethical. So no, OP, I think that you're well justified with escaping like you did, but I would take this one step further and escape even further from this relationship. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Madeline Gumbo says, why are you marrying someone who insists that his money is his money, but your money is also his money? Editing to address the judgment due to questions being answered, not the jerk. And OP says, yes, I don't say a word about how and where he spends his salary. He does intend on dictating how I spend my money sometimes, But with Ray's thing, he's been admittedly getting more aggressive. I keep on trying to get to the root of the issue, but to no avail. The issue is that he's an abusive individual, OP, and he's going to continue to ratchet down and become more abusive. So do not take this lightly. That's my thought. I think the solution is to get out of the relationship. And I don't say that lightly. I don't think that they're working it out at this point in time. This is a pattern of behavior and it's getting worse. That tells me all I need to know. So it's a terrible answer, I know, but it's my honest opinion on this one. And also, his philosophy of what's yours is mine and what's mine is mine is pretty awful. And speaking of dinner, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for canceling dinner and going home over something that my boyfriend's dog did? Hi, I'll preface this by saying that I'm a 25-year-old female and I've been seeing Michael, a 31-year-old male, for a little while now. He's really fun, a little bit sarcastic though of a guy, and we pretty much get along well. We've been dating for 4 months. Michael likes the food that I cook and he wanted me to come to his house to cook him dinner and to meet his dog for the first time. I've only seen him in pictures and videos and he's overprotective of him. I grabbed all I needed from the store and I went over to his house and all went well. I met his dog and we sat down to talk. Suddenly, his dog starts moving in a funny way. Michael was laughing while looking at me. I felt confused and I asked him what the dog was doing and Michael said the dog was telling him something about me. I was like, okay. And then he flat out says that the dog thought I was ugly. This shocked me completely. I looked at Michael and asked if he was serious. He started explaining that his dog is like that with some people and that I shouldn't get offended over the animal's behavior. I felt horrible because I, as a person who always has struggled with self-esteem and no stranger to the word ugly, and my issue wasn't with the dog but with what Michael said. It's like he was indirectly giving his opinion about my looks and using his dog as an excuse, which I think is exactly what this situation is, OP. Dogs do not magically speak stuff like that to people. I'm sure all people kind of are weird looking to dogs, like where'd all your fur go, person? Unless you're a werewolf. In which case dogs are probably like, human with fur. I dig it. Long story short, we had an argument and I ended up canceling our dinner and going home. Michael called several times. When I picked up, he was lashing out the entire time saying that I overreacted and that I cannot blame him and punish him for something that his dog did. He advised me to get rid of the toxic sensitivity that I have and deal with whatever insecurity I have as soon as possible, because what will happen will set the tone for our relationship and eventually our marriage later on. I did respond later, which caused an argument. My sister said that I messed things up with my stupidity. You need a new sister. And that I should have laughed it off, but for some reason, I wasn't able to. Did I overreact here? Alright, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk? Amber is furiously shaking her head with no. So there are two scenarios here, OP. Your boyfriend seriously thinks that he can communicate with his dog and thinks that his dog can speak to him, which I think is a issue of its own. Like, if he believes that he can communicate with his dog, then that is delusional thinking, and delusional thinking isn't necessarily good, right? If this is him speaking through his dog, then, which is the much more likely scenario here, then he's trying to see where the line is and where he can get away with things. And I think this is much more the likely scenario. He wants to push that boundary and see what he can get away with. Because right now it's just the dog insulting you, but what happens when it's more and more extreme things, right? Well, the dog says this. Well, the dog says that. This is going to become a marker for your relationship. I guarantee that. Yeah, I'm glad that you left, OP. I think that you should probably just cut your losses. Cut him from your life here, because you do not need this kind of person in your life. He is playing on your self-esteem issues and he knows what he's doing. And your sister should be supporting you, not being like, you're dumb, right? No, your sister needs to be a better person. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Prairie Mountain Zen says, so wait a minute, he's continuing to blame his dog for insulting you and sticking to his story that his dog, not him, thinks that you're ugly? This guy is just yikes. I personally wouldn't marry someone who communicates by translating his dog's mean-spirited thoughts. The whole different level of passive aggressiveness. Wow. Yeah, that's kind of my feelings here. And Des Buckbay says, he thinks his dog is talking to him. Is it that much of a loss? My cat just told me that he sounds crazy. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Being Vague About My Job and Embarrassing a Guy That I Just Met? So some background. I'm in my 20s and I'm a doctor. I love my job and I enjoy talking about it to some extent, but very often people will go on and on about it. What's the most horrible thing that you've seen? Can you look at my rash? Why were the doctors such jerks to my grandmother when she was admitted for blah blah blah? It goes on. So usually when I meet people that I don't expect to have a long relationship with, I'm just deliberately vague about what I do. Dear husband is also a doctor and he has a very similar approach. So yesterday, I was at a party at a friend's house and I was talking to a guy I'd never met. I will add that he was giving me a bad vibe and I wasn't enjoying the conversation. He was asking what I do for a living and I told him about me and my dear husband's work at the hospital. He joked and asked if we had a cliche doctor and nurse relationship. This rubbed me the wrong way and I replied, "What makes you think that my husband is a nurse?" In an overly friendly, sweet tone. He started mumbling confused, and a few surrounding people laughed, and he walked away angrily. Today, he sent me a message calling me a B for embarrassing him. Am I the jerk or a B for deliberately being vague? And I could have just told him that we're both doctors, but I hate the gender stereotypes, and he was giving me a bad vibe. Update. Apparently, he was trying to get with this other woman, but she heard the story and accused him of being sexist, if the shoe fits. And therefore he struck out. Probably why he decided to call me a B. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk? Amber is shaking her head, not the jerk. Alright, I don't think that you're a jerk, OP. I think that you were just having a conversation and he decided to just make a joke in poor taste and you basically served him the perfect response, right? And I think it was clever. I think it was witty. So, no, I don't think you're a jerk. Anyhow, take care and good luck. It would have been better, though, if you had had your dog say it. And Anna D. Mood says, Not the jerk, great response. He was embarrassed, but he did it to himself. And what on earth was he thinking, messaging you and calling you names? I want to know how he even got your number to message you. That's what I want to know. And our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for throwing my father-in-law out of my house after what he said about my son? I'm a 29-year-old female and my husband is a 30-year-old male. And we have liked each other since we were 11 and 12 years old. We ended up having our son E, 11, pretty early in life, but we managed. And I think we've done pretty well for ourselves considering it all. My father-in-law is a 60-year-old male and he has been staying with us since he and my mother-in-law's divorce. She got the house and he's been having a hard time finding a place, so my husband offered up our guest room. He's not bad company and my son really loves his granddad, so everything has been okay up till now. My son came home from school the other day and was looking kind of nervous and a little upset. E is really sensitive and I was worried about him starting middle school because I know how cruel kids can be. I thought maybe he was being bullied or something like that, so I sat him down and asked him about it as soon as I noticed things weren't okay. Well, what he actually ended up telling me was that he likes a boy in his class and that he was worried about telling me or his dad about it. I told him that his dad and I couldn't care less about who he likes and that all we want is for him to be happy. He ended up coming out to both of us later that night and asked for a rainbow flag to hang up in his room. So I went and I got him one while he was at school the next day. My father-in-law saw the flag hanging up on the back of my son's door and asked me what I was doing. I told him that E had asked for the flag to be put up in his room, and my father-in-law starts going on about a tangent about how his grandson isn't like that. He said a whole bunch of other BS too that was very offensive and downright mean, and basically started outright insulting my child. So I told him that if he felt that way, he needed to grab his things and get the heck out of my house. Good job, OP. Because I'm not going to tolerate his bigotry, especially when it's directed at my child. He packed a bag and went to my sister-in-law's house. She called my husband and told him that I threw their dad out. So my husband came home and asked me what happened. I told him, and he said that his father is just from a different generation, and while it isn't right of him to say those things about E, I was wrong to tell him to leave because he's family. I disagree with your husband. My thing is our son is our family too. He's our child, and his safety and happiness should be our priority. What kind of parents would we be if we let someone who hates who he is live in our home? I told my husband that if his father isn't willing to grow and change, then I don't want him coming anywhere near our house, and now my husband is mad at me. I don't think I overreacted, but maybe I did. Was I wrong to throw him out? No. No. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk? Amber is furiously saying no, shaking her head, and I agree. I concur. I think that what OP did here was perfectly fine. If he wasn't willing to accept his grandson for who he was, then he doesn't need to be around him, and he doesn't need to be trying to change him or turn him into the grandson that he wants him to be, and all kinds of things. This is very harmful, and I think that these are just very his attitude is just bad, right? He doesn't need to see your grandchild until he can accept for him for who he is. That's my thoughts. I'm really sorry that you found out that he is a bigot like this, and it's really unfortunate, that he is not willing to love his grandson for who he is. Anyhow, take care and good luck. And Crystal Queen 3000 says, not the jerk, I'm tired of the he's just from a different generation being used as an excuse for older people to be homophobic. The LGBTQIA plus folks have existed as long as people have, and protecting your child from bigotry is way more important than coddling or housing the person being homophobic. And our last letter is titled, Am I a jerk for wanting to help my girlfriend's bully? To give context, I'm a 22-year-old female and I suffered a toxic and abusive relationship with a man. I left after 2 years of aggression, and I'm proud and stronger after that. I have a wonderful girlfriend, so life couldn't be better. My girlfriend's friends and I go out regularly and plan a lunch and a sleepover with one of my girlfriend's friends. We had a quota to make lunch and pajamas. We bought a pizza and had a good time. Everything was planned for tonight. My girlfriend had a bully in high school, and she is in our university. We'll call her Sam. Sammy used to make derogatory and cruel comments to my girlfriend, invented rumors about her, and made her life miserable in so many ways, and everything came to a climax when she had posted intimate photos taken of another girl, I don't know who, but I know they were not of my girlfriend, and said that they were of my girlfriend. The whole school believed her, and my girlfriend was humiliated and pushed away. This was totally horrible, and I'm not trying to justify it in any ways, but it was years ago, and Sam is at our university now. I don't know her, but she's friends with another friend of mine, so I know that she is apart from the stuff that my girlfriend has. So she told me about her, a girl from my class, and we had a meet and to do some career projects. So we agreed to meet at a cafe on campus. I was surprised to see Sam crying a lot. She looked very bad, so I was worried about her. I approached her, and my friend told me that she had broken up with her boyfriend and that I couldn't leave her alone. I told her that I didn't care and that we left the project for later. Sam kept saying that her boyfriend was an idiot, and I understand her. I don't explain much, but I just know in a fight that Sam's boyfriend threw her out of the apartment and she had nowhere to stay. I've been in this situation and it's horrible, so I told her that she could stay with us and what could happen the night at our sleepover. This calmed her down a lot, which made me happy. I know she did some horrible things before, but I always thought that girls should always be together and that my girlfriend would understand, but no, when I called her, she was scared. She was very, very angry and wouldn't stop cursing. Tell me, I understand, but what Sam did happened years ago, and I didn't want to leave anyone alone who had suffered the same as me to understand and accept it. I promised her that I would protect her and that we would have a good time. But she just said that she didn't want to see me at the sleepover, so she hung up and didn't listen to me, and I understand her feelings, but she must understand mine too. I'm sure Sam wouldn't do anything to hurt her. Now my girlfriend won't talk to me, and so I'm so confused, and I don't know what to do. It's still early, so I want to sort things out before it's dark, so my girlfriend and Sam are comfortable, and I don't want to choose between my girlfriend or someone who needs my help. So Reddit, am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk? Amber is bobbing her head up and down furiously. OP, you are projecting in this situation. I certainly understand you being sympathetic towards someone who you view as being like you and in a terrible relationship that might be toxic and abusive, and I can certainly sympathize that you want to help them with a situation that is familiar to you. But you are doing this at a great cost to your girlfriend, who you should also be sympathetic towards and also be protecting. This woman did some horrible things to your girlfriend, and of course your girlfriend is going to be scared of her. She tormented her for high school not that long ago, right? I mean, this was 4 years at best, maybe 6, depends on your degree program and where you are in the program, but this is not a good thing to do at all. You can't be exposing your girlfriend to this person who abused her and traumatized her, all right? So, OP, yes, you're the jerk, and I mean, you can certainly help her. I'm not saying you can't, but you cannot, for goodness sake, have her in your house. Alright? Plain and simple. Anyhow, take care and good luck. And third try is a charm says, you're the jerk. You absolutely should not have invited Sam into your shared home or space with your girlfriend. I get that Sam was in a bad place, but you could have offered to call her friends for her, or get her a hotel room for the night. You had no right to bring someone with that history into your girlfriend's home. Exactly. Alright folks, it is tea time. We have some beverages of choice today. I have some tea, Amber has some tea, and I have guessed my tea very poorly today. So let's see if you can do any better. Remember, random number generator chose my tea. Amber doesn't have a joke for us, so we are going to pull out our handy dandy joke book. What odd number, when beheaded, becomes even? 7. It's a funny joke, but a little morbid. And I have licorice spice. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed this Sunday morning extra long Reddit special. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, consider giving it a like. And if you dislike this video, consider giving it a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you all tomorrow. And Amber's waving goodbye. Bye!